Close to the finish line of the inaugural season for the Indy Ignite. This market has had such a huge impact on the Pro Volleyball Federation, and this is the home finale. Toughest test of the season, you might say, for the Indy Ignite, taking on the Atlanta Vibe, red hot on a 12-match winning streak coming in. And both of these teams have clinched a spot in Vegas in the PVF postseason. By virtue of finishing inside the top four, Indy is locked in to number 4. Atlanta, though, still has an outside chance at the 1 seed. And thank you so much for joining us alongside Emily Eman. I'm AJ Cannell. Well, you have two teams that have clinched postseason berths. So what's the key for them to stay locked in the meantime?
Despite having already clinched those playoff berths, the key is to keep the same mindset that they had when they were hunting for the playoffs. Atlanta is still hunting for that #1 overall seed in the PVF playoff. And in order to do that, they need to keep up the same relentless defense that we saw to get them to that 12-match winning streak. Indy, different story. They've lost the last 5 of 6 matches. They're looking to get back to that efficient offense that we saw in the first half of the regular season.
Teams have something in common, though. They both have elite players at the libero position.
I am so excited for this one because we're seeing 2 of the best liberos in the PVF in Indiana. And Indy's Elena Scott and Morgan Hens for Atlanta. Morgan Hens already set the PVF single season dig record because of her ability to get to anything. Not only is she great at reading behind a block, but her reaction time is second to none. They call the backcourt Hensville, and Indy might want to avoid the entire left side tonight because Hens owns that entire half. Indy's Elena Scott got the nod at Bro about 11 matches into the season and hasn't looked back. She's such a natural-born leader that takes charge of the back row. She's incredibly explosive and quick to chase balls down. And with how good Atlanta's offense and serving has looked over the past month, Elena Scott needs to be big tonight.
This is a potential playoff preview. 2 teams that know they're going to Vegas in just about a week have a chance to do battle. The regular season home finale for the Indy Ignite. Coming up next on the Roku Sports Channel. Well, nobody has ever won more matches in a row than the Atlanta Vibe currently have won. 12 straight victories coming into this one. The Ren Athletics starting lineups for the Vibe. A slight change. Pia Timmer, who has gotten the nod much of the season as a starting outside, back in there. Kind of a load management situation at this stage of the season for Micaiah White. Lewis and Bacchini, Jones, Monserrat, and Hens, along with Edmond. Everyone else is expected. And for Indy, they're still missing Lydia Martin. She is off the active roster with a lower back injury. Nina Chayic, Anna DeBeer on the outside. It's Okamore getting her second start in a row in the middle, along with CC Crawford, Teeler, Hilly, and Scott. The 4th matchup all time between these 2 teams. Atlanta is 2-1, although Indy won the lone previous matchup here on February 20th in a 3-1 decision. And a missed serve gets it going tonight.
Watching the service pressure is going to be something really important for both sides tonight because they're really good passing teams. And if both teams are in system, those middles can really go off.
Atlanta really wants to avoid long rallies tonight, so expect them to really go for it as a serving unit. Edmond goes for it, an opening kill for the MVP candidate and last year's MVP, Leah Edmond.
Leah Edmond is so much fun to watch because she does every single thing well. We've talked so much about her offense and her ability to put points down, but really it's her all-around play. Backcourt, serving-wise, she's fantastic.
Checks all the boxes. Hilly to the backcourt for Chayic, upstairs there.
The outside position for Indy has been kind of a revolving door this entire season. They had Lecator member Mena, who was going off, went down with injury. DeBeer came about halfway through the season, coming off from injury. Nina Chayic has been in there, Isabel Martin. I mean, they've had pretty much every combination possible.
Interesting to see what they're going to settle on for the postseason. Got a little bit of an inkling this morning in serve and pass. We'll talk through that as the match goes along. A kill there for Crawford. But tonight, Indy going with Chayic and DeBeer out there, and that is an ace from Teeler. Lecator member Mene sitting out. sustained a season-ending injury midway through. And she would have been a surefire MVP candidate at the very least, maybe the favorite. Jones with a swing. D-ball Teeler. Aiko Jones rockets one home.
Aiko Jones has really come on to earn this starting spot for Atlanta. She was in there because she was such a good blocker, but points-wise, she's scoring more and more points as the season has gone on, and they're starting to trust her more in that position just as a rookie.
Undrafted rookie out of Louisville. Hilly puts it over. Jones pancakes it. Another Louisville product, Elena Scott with the dig. And another one, Anna DeBeer got put in a tough situation.
Because so many of these matches in the PVF season, especially with these top teams, have been so close, the margin for error is so small, and those are errors that might not be great later down the line when you're looking at a 1-2 point swing.
This is a free ball for Atlanta. Marley Montserrat. Edmond has it knocked right back in her face.
Beautiful setup from setter Sydney Hilly, identifying this ball perfectly where it was landing, getting those hands over fast to close it up. Cece Crawford, beautiful step with the middle so she can also help on that outside ball as well.
Hilly just under 0.4 blocks per set. Pretty good for a setter in this league. On the slide, Corey Lewis, the rookie from Florida State. Crawford has to put it over. Lewis back at it in transition.
One of the most impressive swings that I think we've seen in weeks. The angles that Corey Lewis is able to hit are just phenomenal because she can sky up there and snap so far down. I mean, as a middle to hit that kind of shot on the 10-foot line, amazing.
Edmond hammers a serve. Chait swats it home.
Good finish from Nia Chait, especially in this situation. A little bit out of system, so the block knows it's going to go outside. Really the only option on a tight ball is to swipe it right off the block.
Cece Crawford didn't play 3 matches ago, started the last 2 and picked her numbers back up, hitting around 300 in those starts after a previous drought from a hitting efficiency standpoint, as Pia Timmer with the scoring punch right there for the Vibe.
One of the most consistent pieces for this Atlanta Vibe team. Pia Timmer doesn't necessarily play flashy, but she's always really consistent and steady.
And just even given her background, I mean, Washington State was never a team that got very much attention nationally, but she was on some really good teams during her college career. I know you were talking more about her style of play, not as flashy.
But still not getting all the accolades. It's the same kind of thing, rubbing off in the way she plays.
Maybe she's a Rising Star Award candidate as Jones connects there for Atlanta.
Good swings from Jones, even in the backcourt as well, something they're really trying to get going.
Marley Montserrat is back to serve. Talk about your candidates later on for setter of the year. Got a couple of setters in this one that are candidates. Adi Okamore the swing. Scott reads it off of Jones' tip. Montserrat to Edmond. It's kept up by Chait, playing it off the net. Triple block against DeBeer, covered by Hilly. Double block that time on the swing by Chait.
Indy doing everything they can to try to cover these plays, but Atlanta's block just better in the right spot at the right time, sending this one straight down.
Sending numbers over there, and the block against Nina Chait. Timeout on the court. Franklin Sports is a proud partner of the Pro Volleyball Federation on the Roku channel. And Kayla Benworth looking on, the first-year head coach for the Atlanta Vibe, team that last year won the regular season championship in the league, was bounced early in the semifinals, and their first opportunity in the postseason, looking to make up for it this year, likely to finish in 2nd place, but still an outside chance at first if they finish 2-0.
the biggest thing for this Atlanta team is playing their best ball at the right time. A 12-match win streak is great, but especially when it's at the end of the regular season.
This is as good as you can ask for. That's a net violation on Indy. Asked Kayla about that before in terms of, well, do you want to keep the winning streak going? Is that a lot of pressure to handle once you get into the postseason? She said, look, little adversity never hurt anybody. I don't think it'd be the end of the world. They feel like if they lost a match at some point the rest of the way, but they're cool either way, I think was pretty much the message as Chaic tips that one to the court.
Really the mindset for both these teams, as I know Coach Banworth told us, was take it day by day. You really want to focus on the match in front of you. Don't think too far ahead. You can't think about, oh, we're on a 14-match win streak going into the playoffs. We just need to focus on the match at hand.
Sending Jones in from the middle there. Okamore gets behind it.
Big transition play for Indy, able to capitalize on a great touch off of the block. And Indy Okamore working so hard to get off the net. Again, just a rookie and in this position as Lydia Martin's been injured. She's doing a phenomenal job being available in transition.
They had started Blake Moeller a couple of times with the Martin injury. That's an ace from Nina Chaic. I think they kind of want to see what they have, though, in Nady Okamore. That's the reason why she's now been in there the last couple of matches with Lydia Martin out, lower back injury.
One of the first things that George Padgett told us in the beginning of the year was we're going to have a lot of movement in the middles because so many of them are so impressive and they're still really young and getting used to how professional ball is going.
You know, Okamore is a player that her first 3 years at the University of Florida saw limited playing time before breaking out late. George Padgett looking on for the inaugural Indy Ignite, who just got aced. Very rare that Elena Scott touches a ball in a situation involving an ace serve. Pia Timmer, who is one of the better servers in the league. Now that's 22 aces, just 11 service errors this season for Timmer with that nasty float serve. Okamore on the gap. She's coming alive offensively early.
Great spacing with the setter. Sydney Hilly watched the setter. She's pulled off of the net, so Okamore gets space around her so she can still run this gap set and have a lane to go through it.
Told that the team just gets behind her, absolutely loves it when Okamore gets a chance to score. And McKenna Vicini scores the point for Atlanta, the middle blocker out of Stanford.
Vicini's really good at these power tips. She knows where to throw the ball just to catch that defense off guard.
Hilly back set of Johnny Teeler, one of the best right sides in the league. Edmond, as good as it gets on the outside. Chaic rises up and is blocked by Corey Lewis.
Corey Lewis has been a wall to start the day. She's doing such a great job seeing where those hitters are facing and lining up her shoulders with their shoulders to get perfect touches.
Bonafide middle blocker of the year candidate as a rookie. First round pick out of Florida State, 6th overall, Corey Lewis. DeBeer uses the top of the hands.
Beautiful swing from DeBeer, kind of her bread and butter shot, going for the deep high corner. If it gets a touch, great. If not, it's still going deep and high.
Aiko Jones beating the block out there and hitting the court.
Taylor thought she might have got a little hand underneath it, but that definitely hit the ground. Jones is bringing the heat today.
She is making her 8th straight start, unseating the #1 overall pick, Merritt Beeson, who did come in off the bench in their 5-set win against Grand Rapids. And they know that Beeson can still bring that firepower when needed off the bench, but Jones is bringing the fire at the beginning of this one.
What I love about the way that Aiko Jones is playing is she's taking massive swings out of the back row too. Now Jones is a player that during her college career didn't get a lot of time playing 6 rotations, so this is something that's new for her, and only getting these starts toward the end of the regular season, been really impressed with her back row offense.
Off to a 4 for 7 errorless start as DeBeer rattles it around. A good scramble from Atlanta, and Edmond drops it home. Atlanta going into the timeout up by 5.
And Jones with that up in the backcourt. She can play backcourt defense too. Phenomenal job creating that transition play. Just a good up leading to that. Atlanta feeling hot right now to start the first.
And we saw some early offense and going into the timeout, some defense from Aiko Jones. Already 4 digs in addition to her 4 kills, hitting over 500. And she's just one of those players that's come a little bit from off the radar. Played for Louisville from 2019 through 2023. This is her first pro season. Had a great college career, but wasn't a name that was talked about entering this PVF season.
I think pretty underrated as a player, and as you mentioned, Merritt Beeson, the #1 overall pick, you kind of didn't think Jones was going to get much playing time, but she's really earned that spot.
Edmond hitting in line, and it is off the mark. It just shows you that we've talked about this already. Last night we were in Grand Rapids, had a similar discussion. The depth that's in this league, and even for the #1 overall pick, it's tough to hold on to your spot.
It's also difficult because these rookies coming in are also coming off of a full NCAA season, so they're essentially playing back-to-back seasons in a row, and you do wonder how wear and tear kind of factors into that.
That's off the block and out. Somebody like Beeson, though, who's gotten a little bit of rest because Jones has taken some time in the lineup, maybe that ends up helping out. Beeson could play a key role come the postseason with a little more fresher legs.
I think the biggest thing, too, is during the playoffs, you need to have depth. So it's massive to have someone like the #1 overall pick coming in off the bench if they need it.
And they complement each other very well. Beeson is a great all-around defender and attacker. Jones is most known for her blocking, although she's gotten off to a good offensive start today.
I think stylistically different. You know, Merritt Beeson is able to hit those crafty shots while Jones is all power.
Timmer. Teeler curls that one inside the block.
Beautiful ball from Ajani Teeler. Sydney Hilly leaves it a little bit more inside because Teeler loves to rip this cross-court shot and bring her arm across her body. Just beautiful setup.
There were 3 blockers there. Didn't matter against Lewis.
There aren't many middles that you're going to see 3 blockers up against. That tells you how much attention Indy is paying to Corey Lewis, who right now leads the PVF in hit percentage.
365 coming in. Okamore on the slide, showing what she can do in the first set.
Beautiful push from Hilly and a great route from Okamore. This is all the way out to the line. That means Okamore has that line open. If it's there, no blocker in sight right there. She bangs it through.
She's appeared in just 2 matches, 6 sets all season, but with Martin out, Lydia Martin, she's getting an opportunity on the practice squad a good chunk of the season. Nadie Okamore. A lot of coverage going on the Indy side. Hilly puts it over. Hess is right there, but it ricochets down to the court.
It is so difficult for that to score against a player like Morgan Hens, who almost always picks that up, which tells you just how good that dump is from Sydney Hilly. She has such great court vision to see what's unfolding on the other side and put it right where they're not.
How do you have to adjust then as a setter, thinking about going over on 2 when it's somebody like either Hens or Elena Scott?
You have to be a lot more tactical with it. You can't overdo it because then they're ready. That was a perfect example of being kind of an opportune time when they weren't ready for it.
What a flying attempt there by Teeler, despite Okamore's shot hitting the antenna. And a timeout now. Indy going to take a breath. Down by 3 in the first set. Well, these look like 2 playoff teams. If you judge the quality of the volleyball so far in the first set. And Atlanta still playing for the 1 seed. They need a lot to go their way the last couple of matches. One thing that does help, the Vibe play Omaha in the finale. They do have to win this match. They need Omaha to lose its remaining match, which is going to be in Grand Rapids tomorrow night. And both of these matches need to go fewer than 5 sets. And that Atlanta win over Omaha would need to be fewer than 5 sets. So it is unlikely, but there's not a lot of matches left. It is possible for those things to happen in the remaining 3 matches for Atlanta and Omaha.
I think that's what's made this end of the PVF season so fun, is because nothing is set in stone. And the fact that Atlanta and Omaha take on each other on Sunday night, I mean, everyone's got their eyes on that match.
You really just, I said 3 matches. You really just need 3 matches to go the right way if you're Atlanta, considering that, you know, each team has 2 matches left. One of them is against each other.
The biggest key as well for Atlanta is taking care of business tonight. I mean, they want to get out of here as soon as possible, rest up before that matchup against Omaha.
And more than anything else, regardless of how the standings play out, Indy, of course, knows they're the 4 seed. Both coaching staffs, they want to be healthy. They want to be playing the right way going into the stretch run. A miscommunication right there between Hilly and Okamore.
Those are sometimes mistakes that you see with players that are coming in that haven't played too much during the season. Of course, Okamore not getting too many starts this season so far. Sometimes that'll happen, but you'll watch her go right back to it.
Well, head coach George Bajan was actually saying that this morning, that you have to look out for the setter-hitter connection, because Okamore's been playing on the second side in practice most of the season. Hasn't had a chance to connect a lot with Sydney Hilly. Kylie Murr is in there in a DS role, going through the back row for the Ignite. Picks one up. Okamore lays out. Montserrat well off the net, setting Timmer. Hilly tight to the net. Teeler gets it over. Jones is all the way over the top and out.
I don't hate that play. That would have been fun if it landed. I think a really high IQ play from Jones, seeing the defense crashing upward, pushing that ball back, just barely missing out of bounds.
She had a smile. It was a good idea. She knew it. Just missing on the execution.
So kind of low risk, high reward, because if you score it, I mean, everyone's going crazy.
Jones pulls the string, and a lot of things have gone her way in the first set.
This is what makes her tips so effective, because Aiko Jones is known for her power. When she pulls back that string a little bit, it really catches the defense on their heels.
Off to a 5 for 8 start with no errors. Great pass, and Hilly can set De Beer, tips it into the block. Hilly has to go back to De Beer, gets a big piece of the net. Jones out of system. What a cover by Montserrat. And the angle from Leah Edmond. That was a classy point by Atlanta, figuring out a way.
Great court awareness from Leah Edmond, identifying a one-on-one situation. No middle blocker in sight, and then she's able to just rip it right inside the 10-foot line.
Fundamentally sound right there from the Vibe. Timmer on the pick. Scott digs it. Everyone hitting the floor, but not enough to keep the ball in play.
Bit of a miscommunication on Indy's side. A great block touch from Atlanta, but 2 players hesitating, which causes that ball to fall at the Ignite side.
It was hard almost to pick up, but there was that little moment of hesitation that led to that ball not getting sent back over. And so Indy uses its final timeout of the first set. Each team gets 2 timeouts per set, and you play the first 4 sets to 25. A potential 5th set would go to 15, win by 2 in this best 3 out of 5 format. Aiko Jones so far hitting 5 for 11 now with 1 error, a block, and 5 digs in the first set.
Aiko Jones' all-around game has been fantastic. She's known for that power and being a big physical presence up front, but I've been really impressed with her defense in the backcourt, as well as some of these back row attacks that I think Marley Montserrat is putting right on the money for her to just go up and absolutely rip.
She's from Kingston, Jamaica, does have senior national team experience with Team Jamaica, and an outstanding collegiate career at the University of Louisville. Finished again in 2023. This is technically her rookie pro season, though. Didn't play last year.
And that's what makes, I think, her so much more impressive, is because she had not necessarily a year off. Obviously, she's training, but not having that game time experience is really difficult then to just jump right in and pick up where you left off.
See some Aiko Jones love in the crowd. And Nadie Okamore, they said coming in, they wanted to make a huge effort to feed her the ball.
But when Indy's middles are involved in the play, it makes the offense really difficult to stop because you have terminal athletic pins on the outside. And when the middles are involved, Sydney Hilly's so good at forcing them the ball. So when they're in a rhythm, it makes it really tough.
You get 8 subs per set in the PVF. And he's going to use one of them on Carly Scott to serve for Okamore. It's a roof against Iko Jones.
Beautiful pushover from Anna DeBeer, tracking that so well. Just such a good job getting her hands over really quickly and turning them back inside so she can't use them.
Short serve, causing some trouble with Bacchini there, having to try and play it. Covered by Hilly there off the block touch. Teeler with an excellent choice on that shot.
This tells you just how high up Ajani Teeler gets. She's going up and over the block in front of her. She's just 5'9", but she touches 10-7.
Right on the back line, bolt 6 with the automated in-out calls. Indy making this a little bit closer. Jones loading up. That is diggable for Shaich. DeBeer on a tight set. Still gets it done, and Indy back within 2.
All of a sudden, Atlanta lets up a little bit, and Indy's offense is starting to go on a rhythm, led by some good serving, getting Atlanta out of system. This set a little bit tight, but Anna DeBeer does a really good job getting her feet there quickly and snapping down before this ball can hit the block.
It was 23-17. That's a 4-0 run. And a timeout now by Atlanta. Well, Atlanta began the season 6-8 through its first 14 matches. That's really hard to believe. I mean, this was a team, that's a significant chunk of the season. That's half the season. 14 matches in. It looked like this was a middle-of-the-pack team. Since then, they have not lost. 12-match winning streak. What stuck out the most?
The biggest thing is this offense really coming together. I mean, this is one Atlanta team with really high expectations. As you mentioned, they didn't have the start to the season that they were hoping. But I think Marley Monserrat has really taken control of this offense. And pieces like Leah Edmond, like Iko Jones have really stepped up to provide that spark. And really just efficient play that Atlanta needed to make that extra push.
Their last loss was on March 1st. It's May 1st. Bacchini loves the gap set. Perfect touch by Crawford. DeBeer tooling it, and Indy within 1.
Great swing from DeBeer, seeing those hands turned outwards on the block. That allows her to use this at a clutch time.
Again, it was 23-17. Big service run from Carly Scott. Atlanta, though, is in system here, and that finds its way to the floor, and it's a set point off the Jones kill.
That's massive for Atlanta to get out of that rotation. They were picking up the short serve well. They were really jamming up their offense, not allowing them to run the middle in really a fast tempo set. Great job getting out of it.
Can't help but watch these matches, though, and try to determine where are those little parts of the game on the margins that could come into play in Vegas in the postseason. Carly Scott as a serving sub might be one of those things. It plays a big factor late in a set. DeBeer barely got that pass up, and it was an overpass. Indy does have a swing, though, to stay in the set. Teeler does it perfectly, going short.
Defense backed up so far on this ball. Such a smart decision to go to that tip right over the block for a player that is known for her power at a massive time.
And Atlanta had a serving specialist in there, Taylor Head, and now I see a challenge signal from Devaney McClarty, the R1. Now she's having a discussion with Atlanta.
Atlanta is challenging that there was a net fault.
CeCe Crawford just looked at her head coach, George Pageant, and said, I didn't do it, wasn't me.
No one's going to admit to it, of course. But hey, this Bolt 6 technology, I mean, you're getting nothing past them.
Yeah, I mean, if she did, it's going to be detected. But based on Crawford's reaction, it seems like she's going to be the one that's up for debate here. If the call on the court stands, you're going to have Indy serving, needing to score a point on its serve, and try and send the first set to deuce. What's the key when you're in a situation like this? You're the serving team, and you're needing to score a point.
You know, you have to stay aggressive, but you really have to get the ball in. That's the most important thing. This is the #1 situation in which you can't miss a serve. But what you want to do is go back there confident and hit a serve that you do every day in practice, because these are the situations that you practice for. How much pressure can you put on yourself in a non-game situation so that you feel confident in a game like this?
Reminder, the expectation is on any given point, the receiving team is more likely to win that point. So a tough situation here for Indy. They've come back, though, from down 23-17. A chance to send it to deuce. Scott, overhead dig. De Beer out of system. It is good for De Beer, and it's deuce in the first set.
All of a sudden, Indy comes storming back. This is a team that you cannot count out no matter the score. Down 23-17, it doesn't matter. They have ice in their veins when they're down.
A 7-1 extended. Whoa! Oh! Off the net and down! Taylor gives Indy set point.
I mean, that's just luck. You're going low over the tape, but in that situation, and Johnny Taylor fell over because she couldn't believe it.
And a huge celebration from the bench. Got a chance to see firsthand, Emily, what type of environment this has been this year in year one for the Indy Ignite in the Fishers Event Center.
It has been an absolute blast. I mean, it's like a party in here every single night. I think, one, because the players are so much fun to watch, but Indianapolis is also such a great sports town. You know, I'm from here, so I can tell you there's not that much to do other than watch sports. So these are diehard fans that are just consistently packed in here night and night, thousands of them.
You said it, not me.
I'm from here, I can say it.
So you saw it flash on the screen right there a moment before. Hold on, I'll give you a chance.
Hey, Dad.
That is Emily Eamon's dad, enjoying the action. Another thing that we just showed you, in addition to Jeff Eamon, is the fact that this is already the 4th time, and we still have an entire match left to go, the 4th time this season that Indy and Atlanta have gone to deuce. All 3 previous ones, a team has reached at least 28. These teams have gone deep into sets with regularity this year, and Lewis extends the first set tonight.
That tells you that the margins of error are so small. So even early on in sets, when you have a miscommunication, when you miss a serve, those are going to pay dividends later down the line. You need to make sure in the beginning you're playing as clean as possible so you don't get into these situations.
It was an 8-1 run for Indy before Lewis put it away. Tuaninga is in to serve. It's a good serve. Atlanta has the upper hand. Lewis coming over the top. Scott the dig. Back set. Taylor. Timmer is underneath. Anna Dixon as a part of the dub sub. De Beer loading up and puts it down.
De Beer is just a rookie, but she has been in so many high-pressure situations throughout her volleyball career. When she was at Louisville, multiple Final Fours, they went to her in these kind of moments. De Beer was built for these moments.
Missed the early part of the PVF season as a continuation from the ankle injury suffered in the Final Four. Another set point for Indy. Oh, Edmond gets behind it, and it's 26 apiece.
As we go later and later into the set, expect both setters to go to those go-to attackers. For Atlanta, that's Leah Edmond, and you've got Anna De Beer as well.
Hilly, Chaich, a massive swing. Going back out there. Pulls the string, pancake to an Inga. Dixon is rejected.
Beautiful setup at a massive time, and Nina Chaich stepping in, getting those hands all the way over, working so well with CeCe Crawford, her middle.
Couple of rookies combining. Chaich, Crawford were there. Edmond. Covered, another Indy block. They win the final 2 points on stuff blocks and against last year's MVP to win the first set.
The grit and determination desperation from the Indy Ignite, coming back down 23-17 to win that. You can tell the mindset is of this team. Yeah, they're already in the playoffs, but they are still hunting.
That is 11 of the last 14 points that Indy won in that set. And another. First set stats are sponsored by FICO. Pro Volleyball Federation is proud to partner with FICO to champion financial literacy. PVF athletes will engage with the league and its communities to provide financial education. Well, Atlanta, maybe their #1 key, they said this morning in practice, was to not be involved in a slugfest. Minimize the wear and tear on their outsides, be in-system passing. We kind of saw a slugfest in the first set.
Yeah, it was a slugfest, and a lot of that is due to passing, because when you're not passing well, most of the time you have to go to those outside attackers, and that is exactly what Atlanta wants to avoid. They want to get the balls to the middles, inside out quickly.
The Vibe had the 23-17 edge, and then it all went awry. Indy with the 1-0 advantage. Remember, Atlanta coming in, having not lost a match since March 1st, a 12-match record-winning streak in this league. Vicini to Iko Jones. So an assist for the middle blocker, Vicini.
Put in a really good spot as well, and left Jones space to go attack that ball and have the option to either go right off the block or inside of it.
And Vicini's going to serve. Okimor coming through. Nadie Okimor split her college career between Florida and SMU.
Okimor doing a good job staying involved in these plays. She's doing good getting off of the net and leaving space between her and the setter to have that full lane and momentum in her approach.
Lewis finding the angle once again.
Atlanta needs to get Lewis more involved in this match. In the beginning of set 1, she did a great job getting fed the ball. Monserrat, even off the net, was getting her going. They need to continue to find that, especially here in set 2, and reestablish it.
I mean, she's a bona fide middle blocker of the year candidate and has been good when given the chance so far tonight, but Nadie Okimor, who's barely played this year, has been even more productive based on the numbers. Crawford hanging up there and just missed it.
Good run on Indy's side. CC Crawford just needs to get on top of that a little bit more to snap it down.
She's a blocking-minded middle in college, looking to expand her game offensively. But again, Okimor, what a start in the middle for Indy. 5 for 7. Sealer ripping one. Monserrat, some good defense. Crawford going to town on the gap set.
Great transition play for Indy. CC Crawford getting off the net so well, and Hilly knows that because Crawford missed the last one, she's going to go right back to her. We call that a repeat setter, and Hilly does a lot of that.
2 for 4 start for Crawford. Second round pick out of Wisconsin. Edmond off the mark.
Leah Edmond, although she has 5 kills on the night, not the most efficient night, and normally we see that number a lot higher. She's still below 100. They need to get her a lot more productive.
What's prevented that from happening so far?
It's been a lot of out-of-system sets for Edmond because it feels like every good ball is going to either Iko Jones or one of the middles, so it's difficult to have a higher efficiency when you're just taking out-of-system swings.
Atlanta did win the most recent match between these two teams in Gas South Arena on March 9th, and Edmond led the team with 16 kills, but did hit under 200 in that one as well. Jones leaning in, and that is off the mark. Indy by 2 early in the second.
Iko Jones coming from pretty deep on that ball, chasing it down, getting under it, causing it to sail out of bounds.
Still in the very early going in the second, but Kayla Banworth seeing something that she didn't like and calling an early timeout. Gives us an opportunity to look at MVP candidates, and at this point there's not much data left to sort through. Only 2 matches left in the season for each of these teams as Kayla Banworth's getting into it with her group right there. A quick huddle, but let's take a look, Emily, at your candidates.
Well, there was a lot of people to choose from, and a lot of times, you know, you're looking at the high point scorers, and Brittany Abercrombie is exactly that. She's a #1 point scorer in the PVF. She is known for her arm. She's incredibly efficient, and she puts down a lot of balls up front. 4.3 kills per set for contacts. The next closest is 3.6. Leah Edmond, to me, is the most well-rounded player. She's top 10 in digs, blocks, kills, and aces. So a player that is just consistent across the board and can score points in a lot of different ways. Then you have a Johnny Teeler, who has really come up on the scene, a very underrated player. She started off last year as a practice player in Orlando, and now she's a candidate for the MVP race. And what stands out for her is that hitting efficiency, and also her blocking is just phenomenal.
What's your gut feeling of who will win it, do you think?
I think Abercrombie will win it just because she scores so many points, but I also will say Leah Edmond handles a much heavier load. Leah Edmond would be my pick.
It's close. I think Edmond has a compelling case, even though Abercrombie is